This is a tarot reading for the Chinese New Year, for the entire year of the dragon, which starts on February the 10th. Now, it's the lunar New Year, so it isn't exactly a year, but it lasts around a year. And February the 10th is quite late, so the date shifts every year. But it's somewhere around the end of January, beginning of February always. If you're unsure of what Chinese zodiac sign you are, if you look in my notes, there's a crib there which lets you know. And it's based on the year that you were born, rather than the month that you were born. But if you're born at the end of the year, it's a little bit more complicated, and you'd need to look it up. So this is a tarot reading for the entire year of the dragon, but for the sign of the dog. Dogs. This doesn't look like a happy reading at all. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a dog, and this reading looks terribly personal to me, and maybe it's worse for me than it would be for other dogs. I don't know. But what I want to say to you is that tarot is not fortune telling. It's talking about energies that will impact on your conscious and subconscious during this year. And you have free will, so you don't have to follow this trajectory. So you could see this as something of a warning. And as I say, maybe it's not as bad for you as it appears to be for me. The overall energy is, the central card there is one of heartbreak. Now, I don't take that lightly at all. Bottom right-hand corner, this is in the past. You have effectively moved on from your past and dumped baggage. So you've done something very useful over the probably previous year. And now you're taking a rest, and I don't blame you. You know, you've probably been through quite an emotional time in dumping that baggage. The longer term, and we're probably talking outside of this year, we have what I consider to be a very depressing card indeed. It's a card of complete depression, complete sadness. I think this rendering is even sadder. You know, he's slumped at the bar. I can see a few empty glasses there. The barmaid's going, you know, go home, haven't you got a home to go to? It's time, you know, and he's going bugger off, you know. Yeah, what a depressing card that is, and that's the future. What leads to the outcome is a Three of Cups. Now, this is, you know, a card of doing things with probably friends, celebrating, even trying to create something with friends. But this particular rendering suggests to me a ménage à trois. And that would fit in with what I can see in the rest of it. How could we change the trajectory? Well, it would seem that if you're scoring some victories and getting public recognition, that you can change this trajectory. Is this you resisting temptation? It certainly feels that way to me. The outcome is you looking to the past, maybe even looking to early sweethearts. This is not what I want to see for me at all. As I say, other dogs, maybe, you know, you can take it in your stride more, but at my age and my particular personal circumstances, it's the last thing I want to see. So stick with me as I go through what I do see as a rather depressing reading. Now, as I say, the overall energy for the year is that of a broken heart. Now, often this card doesn't last, but this clearly lasts for the year at the very least. And there are indications it hangs on more than the year. And I have to let you know that, I suffered a broken heart that went on for 35 years. And I've only just discovered that almost certainly my mother was behind the breakup of this relationship, as she was behind the breakup of almost all my relationships. And, she was a covert narcissist, And, it's affected the whole of my life, so I'm not talking about this lightly. Now, I'm in a very, very loving relationship. Never felt like it before. Extremely happy. So for anything to happen to that relationship would absolutely break my heart. And as I will tell you later, it would affect me massively in other ways, massively. So, I'm certainly not taking this broken heart lightly, and it does look to be about a relationship breakup. It really does. In the recent past, you've moved on from your past and you've dumped baggage, and I can very much identify with that. I don't know about you. And in the Western Tarot, we've been encouraged to do this, and I've been doing it. Of course, we don't have dogs. I mean, I'm a Leo in the Western Tarot. But I've been encouraged to do it, and I've done it, or I feel I've done it, although I keep getting messages I've got to do it, and I think I have. Not least of that was my dumping my mother's died, my narcissistic mother, but to stop thinking about her and stop allowing her thoughts to control me. But, as a result of this losing all my loves thanks to my mother, I ended up for 20 years with another covert narcissist, but this time a psychopathic covert narcissist. And she claimed that, she had a son who she claimed was mine. I'm saying it that way because I don't believe he is now. And I brought him up as my son, and love him dearly, still do. But it's something that I've had to just move on from and dump all that baggage. Because, I have a new life now. I'm in Indonesia. So, yeah, I think you've done this effectively, and that's a good thing. Perhaps unsurprisingly, you're now taking a rest, Dumping major baggage like that and moving on in your life is emotionally draining, terribly draining, And so right now you're wanting to take a rest, and I think it's a very well-deserved rest that you're taking. So nobody can blame you for wanting to take a rest, and you do need to recharge. This is going to be a tumultuous year, so absolutely you do need to, dogs. In the future, and this is probably outside of this year, we have what I consider to be one of the most depressing cards in the entire deck, and this particular rendering is even more depressing. I mean, it is a card of depression, if you've got a broken heart, just look at it. I could see me wallowing in my own sorrow, propping up a bar like that, at the end of the night having drunk too much and being thrown out of the bar, I could absolutely see myself in that position. I mean, what you need to know is that my status in Indonesia is probably dependent on me remaining married to my wife. So, if I was to lose my wife in any way, I probably could no longer be in Indonesia. And all my assets are in Indonesia. I've bought one house and built another. Neither are worth that much, but I almost certainly would have to leave everything behind. So this feels a bit like me in Bangkok. I don't. If it were to happen to me, I couldn't go back to the UK because I simply wouldn't have the money. So I could probably go to Bangkok, but that would be me. I'd be one of those sad old men, Western men you see in Bangkok that goes from bar to bar trying to get cheap drinks. Oh dear. This is not a future I want for myself, and I don't want it for any of you dogs either. And the energy that leads to the outcome is that of the Three of Cups. Traditionally, it's just about friends coming together, often in a common goal, maybe just enjoying themselves, but often in a common goal, maybe something creative. The outcome isn't necessarily a bad outcome, but given my take on the whole thing, it is. If you look at this rendering, it looks very much like a menage a trois, doesn't it? It looks like that boy is desired by the two girls on either side of him. Does this mean that you are likely to cheat during this year? I think that's what we have to read into it. I really do. Of course, it could be that your partner cheats on you. And, I mean, it has disturbed me, this reading. And as soon as I sort of spotted what the cards were saying, I went and told my wife, because it's the last thing on my mind. And I said, unless it's you. And she said, don't be so silly. I love you, So, I have to think that it's more likely a warning to me than anybody. But it is the last thing that I would want or is on my mind. Yeah. Now, as I say, you have free will. And the way to change things is to focus on your victories. There'll be small victories, not winning a war, but battles. And the victories you'll get public recognition for. I mean, this could have nothing to do with this sort of lover, as it were. It could be victories over, in the workplace, in business. Could be victories saying, well, look how far I've come. I've dumped the baggage. I've moved on in my life. I need to keep moving on. And one of the, I say my mother managed to get rid of all of my loves. I mean, it was quite blatant in many times. You might think I'm being crazy, but it was often quite blatant. Every time I took a new girlfriend home, she would rip into them quite nastily, and those that she couldn't drag me away from, she encouraged me to cheat. So I do have a history of cheating, but I thought I'd put it all behind. And maybe this is just saying, take each day as it comes. If somebody throws themselves at you and you reject them, count that as a victory and make it known. Yeah. And the outcome of what I see as your fling is you focusing on the past. Possibly focusing on past loves. Now, we don't actually have anywhere here that you've broken up with your partner, if indeed you have a partner. So maybe I'm reading it too much for myself, because it doesn't necessarily mean you break up with a partner. It might mean that this menage a trois, as it were, doesn't go well, or this fling doesn't go well, and that breaks your heart. And as a result of it, you think about the past. Maybe you think about past loves. And, certainly it's something, my life is littered with past loves, thanks largely to my mother's interventions. So I probably would do that, but, it wouldn't do me any good because I'd be stuck in Asia without the money to get back to the UK. Well, I could fly back to the UK, but with nothing. So, it's a dog's chance, if you like, And I wouldn't wish to impose a broken-hearted me on any of my old girlfriends either, Yeah. I don't think this is an old girlfriend who causes this at all, because this is the reaction, this is the outcome. So the cards are the wrong way round for that to be the case. Let's get a bit of clarity though, eh? Now, I'm going to seek clarity on the broken heart. Because let's face it, that is critical to the whole reading, isn't it? What's it about? Well, we have the Three of Pentacles, a card of teamwork. Is this to do with people you work with? It feels that way. The next card we have is the Queen of Pentacles, who, it's the energy. I mean, I'm clearly not a female, and my children are stepchildren, but it's the single mother card. It's the energy of the single mother, which probably would describe my situation. And then finally we have the Lovers card, divine love. So you are broken-hearted about love, that's for sure. Now I wonder about this first card of clarification. Three of Pentacles. It's a card about collaboration. It's a card about coming together to create something bigger. And remember, this is about the broken heart. I wonder if it's more work-related. I just wonder. I wonder if it's, because I don't need to read into that Three of Cups that it is cheating. Could be something very different, Yeah, I'm grasping at straws a bit, I know, but this Three of Pentacles is coming together to create something bigger. It's a synergy. And maybe you're broken-hearted because of you can't create that synergy. A failed attempt at a teamwork or business, maybe. This Queen of Pentacles does suggest to me a partnership breakup. You might even be left with children, or certainly be left with some sort of dependence. If we were to put it into the work sort of situation, maybe you're left carrying the can with all the work to do. Because the Three of Pentacles is about coming together as a team to do things that you can't all do by yourselves. And if that breaks up, then it would create additional works and headaches for you. Could it be that? I mean, it could be, couldn't it? I mean, I think my first explanation is more likely, but, as I say, I'm a dog and I'm thinking it through and it doesn't seem to fit me. Well, it does fit me, but I don't think it does, They always say with tarot readings, take what resonates, don't they? I normally jump at this next card and say, no, my first explanation was correct. The Lovers feels like a divine love. That's what's broken your heart. I mean, it doesn't have to be love. It could be some sort of a business partnership. It could be that. I still think the most likely explanation for why your heart's broken is to do with love and is to do with cheating, and probably you cheating. Maybe I've got it wrong. Just maybe. I think we can summarise, but we need to keep both of those alternative explanations open. Dogs, I can't say it's a good... There's no way I can turn this into a good year for you. The year of the dragon. It could be a big warning to you. You've certainly got a broken heart. And you're certainly going to end up very depressed. In the past, I think you've done exactly what you need to do, and that is that you've moved away from the past, moved on to new things, and dumped baggage. And that must have been terribly emotional for you. So this year you will be resting. However, what's going on? There's teamwork or working with others here. I might be wrong that it's about you playing around. It could be. But it could be that maybe you form a sort of a business, or, well, it doesn't have to be business, it could be anything, doing something with others. But it would seem they leave you in the lurch and you are left carrying the can. There is love here. Did you love one of these people? Or did you simply love what the project was? And I think when it happens, it's going to leave you thinking about this past that you thought you'd dumped, that you'd moved on from. Because it feels like so many things that have happened to you in the past. And so you reminisce about the past again, even though you thought you'd left it completely behind you. And the way to change things, and you have free will. You know, the way to change things is by focusing on your successes. Focusing on what success you get and the public recognition that you gain from it. And take heart from that. And if you can do that, then you're not going to be focusing on how it's cycles of the past repeating itself, but moving forward on to better things. Yeah. I mean, as I say, it could be about you cheating in love. That is the most likely explanation. And if it is, then even you avoiding cheating each day should be a reason to celebrate. I'm a dog, and so I feel for you. I feel for myself. Let this be a warning. Focus on what you're doing that's good. Focus on each day, and you'll get through this year. Don't worry, dogs.